Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Player's Perspective, the interview series where I talk to fellow YouTubers and find out a bit about them. My guest today is an aspiring voice actor who has a love of all things superheroes. So whether you want a clown prince of crime or anything fantastical, then he's your man. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nick Cortez. Nick, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Love the intro.
That's cool, man. So you're a voice actor on YouTube, and you're known for your various takes on DC comic villains like the Joker, Mr. Freeze, Hugo Strange, and you've done some of the intros to the Nightwing 01 channel on his Batman Arkham Origins series. So voice acting seems quite a particular subset in the industry. So what attracted you to voice acting?
Well, I think, growing up with really cool cartoons played a big impact on, my decision to do voice acting. And it just sort of played out. Like I was always impressed and surprised, like seeing who was voicing these characters, because we don't get to see who's voicing them because it's, animations or whatever is covering. But when I find out, like, oh my goodness, Corey Burton is doing Count Dooku, and it blows my mind how these people get to like disguise themselves. So it always attracted me to kind of morph into different characters like that.
And so I think you said that you found sort of your audience through going to the Batman Arkham videos YouTube channel. So how did you sort of gain an audience by showing your work?
Well, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Batman Arkham videos, I don't think I'd be put on the map, so to speak. I think I owe so much to Batman Arkham videos. It was a great opportunity. I think I didn't know what to do at that time, and I wanted to expand and work with other voice actors or channels, and I figured if I'm just, doing my own thing without interacting with other people and using the internet to my advantage, then I'm going nowhere. So I said, heck with it. I'm gonna be polite and talk to as many Bat-related channels as I could, and I was fortunate and lucky enough that Batman Arkham videos liked what I did and responded positively and started doing gigs for them.
Yeah, I've listened to some of your stuff and it's really good. I really enjoy it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to developing different voices for characters, where would you say the line is between an impression of someone who's done a particular character versus your own particular take?
Okay. Yeah. See, that's always the tough line. Everyone seems to either understand or easily kind of get the two mixed up together. It's a very thin line between it's using, see, like an impression is how do you say, directly wanting to sound like the person, and wanting to, as if it's not an impression and it's your own take, you're not wanting to sound like the character or the whatever voice you're trying to sound like, and adding your own spin to it that's substantial enough to not sound like an impression. I think for me, yeah.
So in some particular cases, I think a good example would be with Troy Baker,
yeah,
coming in with Batman Arkham Origins,
yeah,
and having to being asked to do a sound like essentially of Mark Hamill's
right, yeah.
take. So when someone asks you to take a well-known character and do it in a particular style, sort of how far would you have to pitch it in such a way? Whereas, I mean, you can't sound exactly like a carbon copy of someone else.
Right, right.
There are some rare cases where someone can do that,
Yeah.
but when someone asks you to sort of emulate a particular style, how would you go about doing that?
Like for recently when I did Mr. Freeze for K-Wing, he really wanted to go for um Michael Ansara's animated version of Freeze, and I had done sort of a mix of that and um, Maurice LaMarche from Arkham City in my channel, and it was like a blend of the two. But he specifically wanted just the animated series, and so the first thing I do is just like study the character as much as I can and see if what my own personal kind of influences isn't getting in the way of sounding like the character to as much as I can. And I guess you have to, well, I try to look at a more of like a timeline of a character and see, okay, if I don't sound exactly like he did in this particular time frame, well, he sounded a little bit different in this series. So maybe if I did a blend of the two, it'll still sound consistent. And so I think that's what I aim for when I'm trying to sound like a specific um, character in its time frame.
Particularly with the Mr. Freeze one, it has that mechanical effect over it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's in the suit.
Yeah, it was different from I guess the Arkham City. Mauritius was very soft and had I don't think as much sound effect when the suit was off or yeah. But for Ansara's, we noticed he had this kind of slight reverb in his voice that kind of sounded like you put paper in front of your mouth so the S's really sound like frozen and cold. And so that was the voice wasn't the hard part. It was finding an effect that was perfect. And so hopefully I think people liked it.
Yeah, it's interesting when you see an evolution of a character, particularly in its age. I think another good example would be Kevin Conroy's version of Batman, where he has his Bruce Wayne voice, which is pitched higher and a higher tenor register, and then he has his that Batman voice, which is taken much lower. But when you sort of take that same character, say into Batman Beyond, where he's a much older man, he talks entirely in the Batman voice.
Right, right. It's like that's a really good example how, and just in general, his voice has really changed from the animated series to, let's say, the Arkham. Totally, it's darker and deeper, more gravelly, and so I think I liked what he did nowadays. Maybe it's just age. Age has a lot to do with the sound of a character. So yeah, with Conroy, that's a thing.
Yeah, to stay with a particular character for perhaps 20 plus years.
Right.
That must you must want to do something else by now.
He's probably being sick of hanging upside down for 20 years.
Yeah, he was a stage actor before he got that gig.
Mm-hmm. That was his first voice acting thing, I think.
Yeah, you never know where your career's going to go in the entertainment business.
Right.
So, we talked a little earlier about, how you found the Batman Arkham Videos channel, and, you found your audience through that, but you're also a part of the Behind the Voice Actors.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a community for fellow voice actors, and to help find casting calls, and I'd also post movie and TV news. So have you been able to find others of sort in a similar ilk to you, and be able to collab with them?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I one of the things when I first started was trying to find a community that so I don't have to be alone. And this is sort of a lone, very lonely type of thing when you're first starting. So I thought I should find other people, and behind the voice actors was is such a great site for that. I love it. And I remember the first person I really kind of connected with was Roth Wolf, and I think her name there is Legend of Link, I believe, but she does Harley. She did Harley in my recent um, Harley trailer dub, and she is just fantastic. And the first time I heard her, I instantly messaged her and said, "I need you for for all my female and Harley roles like pronto." And I so I'm lucky enough to have been in the same project with her, and no, that site is great. I mean, I haven't been active on it as much, but that's because the school thing and the YouTube. It's really hard to balance those three. But um, when I was solely on behind the voice actors, it was really fun, and so that's how I got my Harley. So I think behind the voice actors a lot for that.
Do you take have you taken like your own, have you created your own particular characters, or do you work more specifically on more established ones?
I think there's a few that I've done that weren't really established characters, but the majority of the work that I've done have been like maybe A grade to B grade characters, like yeah, in popularity wise.
Awesome. So and obviously we've talked about it at length, and you're clearly a DC fan.
Oh yes,
Yeah. Are you in that? Do you like Marvel as well, or are you very much DC all the way?
I oh that is the question. I let's see. I don't think well, yeah, I don't hate Marvel at all. I love a lot of the things they've done with their characters. I think I've always connected more with DC, but I if I see a great story in Marvel, I'm really gonna appreciate it. I mean, being a nerd in the superhero genre is really good when you get to take in both worlds, I think.
And what's your thoughts on Batman versus Superman?
Ooh, the upcoming one?
Yeah, that going on.
Oh gosh. I I really want to see the Batman suit. I really do. I mean, I have high hopes that, you know, throughout the years we've seen a lot of takes of Batman, and I really liked what Henry did with Superman, and I can't wait to see what Ben does with Batman. Uh, it's it's weird with these really popular characters because we've had such like Christian Bale to like Keaton and like tons in between, and I have my favorites, but I think with the modern introduction of the Arkham games and sort of a mature progress of the character, I think we might finally get an intellectual Batman that we've seen in the comics instead of more of like this fighting style Batman, which I'm hoping we get like a 360 Batman version instead of just one aspect of him.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that Marvel, for example, they're so organized with all their different
Oh
films,
yeah.
and they had it seemingly planned, right from the start with Iron Man, and then just kind of introducing each character and then leading into the Avengers. And it sort of seems that DC has been, and Warner Brothers has been in catch-up mode for a good number of years.
Oh yeah, they are really smart. I don't know if they knew what they were doing from the start, Marvel, but it certainly paid off. I mean, whether they knew that they were going to do Avengers or they were just going out on a limb. I'm See, that's one of the things I can appreciate about Marvel is how well they planned it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope with the Batman Superman one that they it seems they're chucking in a lot of characters because they want to establish a further Justice League film, and I think they've got both Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman's going to be in there. They're going to have perhaps Nightwing as well,
and Cyborg,
Cyborg, Lex Luthor. I mean, they're just throwing everyone in there, and I just hope, outside of the main two characters, that everyone is there for a particular purpose, and not just there for like a couple of seconds and then they just disappear.
Oh, that would be. I have a feeling they're gonna end up doing like a cliffhanger, and make us all just super pissed we didn't get to see them throughout the whole film.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a full on Man of Steel 2.
Yeah.
To fully establish the new Superman.
Yeah.
Because I think we need at least one more film to know the character more better, and then do the team up.
Yeah, I loved what they were doing with Superman and the movie, and especially with the flashbacks, and it was a very philosophical type of film, and I remember watching it and seeing all these kind of themes of morality and really deep morals and values. I looked at the film and thought, this is like one of the most deepest superhero stories I've seen, and I'd like to see more of it before they just turn it into like this action type movie. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely felt much more of a sci-fi film in many
Yeah.
respects. So much of it's in space.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, Nick, I'm going to ask a question now that I ask everyone, and that is, if a video game developer were to come up to you and say, Nick, you can create whatever game you would like, what would it be and why?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. I think I'm really happy with Batman. Let's see. A video game. I'd have to say something steampunky. I love steampunk, and I don't think there have been enough steampunk games out there taken seriously. It'd be cool to see like this intergalactic sort of steampunk storyline out there. I think that's what I would do.
Awesome, that sounds really interesting. So, Nick, what do you have to say to all of the fans and people who've followed you throughout your career and where you want to be in the future? What do you have to say to all of them?
I'd say, well, first of all, I'd like to, really thank all of them for following me for so long and liking what I do. And I hope I bring something that, people don't often maybe appreciate or focus on when they're playing games, and voice actors making these rich characters. And I hope I've done justice to the ones that I've done, and make people happy and feel what I feel when I do these characters. So I mean, if it wasn't for all these people, it would be very hard to get up in the morning and say I'm going to do a video, So I thank all of them for digging my crazy voices.
They definitely given you the motivation.
Oh yeah.
Cool, Nick. So where can we find you on the internet?
Everywhere. I got YouTube. You can find me on YouTube, Nicholas Cortez. On Twitter, same thing. Facebook. No MySpace. That's been dead for me for a while. Instagram. I mean, whenever I don't post something on YouTube, you could always find me, saying, "Oh, I'm in the progress of making something" on the other social media outlets.
Great stuff. So Nick, it's been really really great talking to you today.
Thank you for interviewing me.